Hello, family. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I'm looking at a middleweight, outstanding fighter. He had a brother by the name of Tommy Gibbons who had an opportunity to fight against Jack Dempsey for the heavyweight championship. But Mike Gibbons, from my understanding, never got that opportunity. But he fought all of the top Hall of Famers, all the great fighters. Phenomenal fighter. I studied Mike Gibbons about 6 years ago. Studied him before that about 10 years ago, but I really got into him in 6 years ago. I know his career in and out. And he was a dynamite fighter. No question about it. Nothing else I can say about him. I'm just going to show you some of his opponents. Well, let's just start off with he was born July 20th, 87, in St. Paul. He weighed 147 pounds and he stood 5'9". Now, he began his career in 1908, was an exception in 1920 and 1918. 1920, he had no fights. In 1918, he had only one fight. And that was due to the fact that he was in the armed forces as a boxing instructor. And now here, I just want to show you this because I've always had to do research on this. Got different stories. He laid claim to the world welterweight title in 1910 after Stanley Ketchel had been killed. Now, I know Stanley Ketchel was killed by Dibley. But Stanley Ketchel was a middleweight champion. He got killed in 1910. That's correct. But it was for middleweight, not welterweight. So, I'm still going back and forth with what he's talking about, Fletcher. But it was obviously a typo. I'm just going to go ahead and say that because it was for the middleweight championship. So he was obviously holding on to the crown for a minute while they got two fighters together to fight for that title. And some of the fighters he fought, as you can see here, Jimmy Clabley, outstanding middleweight. Packy McFarlane, fighter, outstanding fighter. Harry Greb, he was a champion. George Chip, he was a champion. Ted Kid Lewis was a welterweight champion. Bill McKinnon, Marty Rowan, all good fighters. Patty Levine, Willie Lewis, Mike Donovan, he was a champion, middleweight. Tommy Maloney, Eddie McCurdy, very good fighter. Frank Mattel and Jack McCowan, very good fighters. He fought Tommy Ryan. Dynamite. He retired in 1922, became a boxing teacher, then was appointed as a member of the Minnesota Boxing Commission. He was elected to the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1958. And Mike Gibbons died on August 31st, 1956, as St. Paul, Minnesota. So let's look at some of the guys that he fought. Born July 20th, 1887, St. Paul, Minnesota. Nationality, Irish American. He weighed 148 pounds and he stood 5'9". He began his professional career in 1908. He was placed on the card on January 11th against Roy Moore. St. Paul knocked him out in the third round. March 20th, Herb Catherwood, St. Paul, 15-round draw. And as you look at his career, all wins. 1909, January 5th, George Brown, St. Paul, knocked him out in the first round. March 1st, Art Godfrey, St. Paul, knocked him out in the first round. April 12th, Roy Moore, St. Paul, defeated him in 10 rounds. June 4th, Thor Thompson, St. Paul, defeated him in 6 rounds. Phenomenal. November 1st, Jack Doyle, St. Paul, defeated him in 10 rounds. As you can see, he had a 10-round exhibition on December 10th, 1910, January 9th, Kid Gratney, St. Paul, knocked him out in 9 rounds. March 12th, Jimmy Clabby, very good fighter, St. Paul. He lost in 10 rounds. He's a very, very good middleweight. For Jack Doyle again, 15-round draw. That was September 23rd. 1911, just going through his career. January 8th, Kid Grantley, Minneapolis, knocked him out in the 5th round. Art Guthrie, knocked him out in the 14th round. Freddie Hicks, defeated him in 8 rounds. Joe Wilson, June 16th, knocked him out in 8 rounds. July 4th, Young Kid Boyd, knocked him out in 13 rounds. Fought Jimmy Clabby twice. September 1st, September 29th. No decision in 10 rounds and no decision in 15 rounds. Fought Willie Lewis in New York. No decision in 10 rounds. That was November 28th of 1911. 1912, January 23rd, Jack Denny, New York. No decision, 10 rounds. Young Cashmere, New York, knocked him out in 4 rounds. Freddie Hicks, New York, no decision in 10 rounds. Tommy Howell, Philadelphia, no decision in 6 rounds. Willie Lewis, knocked him out in the 2nd round. That was February 23rd. Now look at this fighter here, April 11th, Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith, I'm going to get into his profile. I might even do it right after this one. Phenomenal middleweight out of New York. Outstanding. No decision in 10 rounds. May 14th, Patty Levine, Buffalo. Knocked him out in 8 rounds. Phenomenal. Amazing. Now he's starting into some heavy hitters here. May 31st, K.O. Brennan, Buffalo. No decision, 10 rounds. June 10th, Tommy Connors, New York. No decision in 10 rounds. July 1st, Sid Burns, very good fighter, New York. Knocked him out in 5 rounds. November 20th, Jack McCarron, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. No decision in 5 rounds. 6 rounds, excuse me. December 4th, Eddie McCoy, New York. No decision in 10 rounds. 1913. Look at the fighters he's fighting. No losses. Spike Kelly, no decision, 10 rounds. He was a very hard puncher, Spike Kelly. Marty Rowland, Brooklyn, knocked him out in 2 rounds. That was November 14th. December 10th, Kid Ferns, New Orleans, knocked him out in the 2nd round. December 16th, Joe Hurst, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. 1914, January 12th, Bob McAllister, very good fighter, New York, knocked him out in 7 rounds. I'm hesitating. You know what? Let me show you Bob McAllister for a second. So I want to apologize. I can't get Bob McAllister right now. That book is too high up. I'll pull that book down another time. But Jeff Smith. Let me show you Jeff Smith real quick. So this is Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith was a dynamic middleweight. And he was another fighter that should have been a champion. He was not. He was from New Jersey. A phenomenal middleweight with Jeff Smith. No question about it. Just want to show you Jeff Smith real quick. Patty Levine, May 14th, Buffalo. Knocked him out in the 8th round. Let's go back over here. (1913). Like I said, Spike Kelly, phenomenal fighter. 1914, this is where we left off with Bob McAllister. Al McVoy, February 23rd, Brooklyn, New York. Fascinating fighter. Al McCoy was a champion. In fact, let me show you him real quick. Here you have Al McCoy. Fascinating middleweight. Al McCoy would be champion. Fascinating fighter. Just wanted to show you Al McCoy. I'm going to try and show you some of these fighters if I had the book out at the time that I can show them to you. So Bob Mohawk, December 4th. Hudson, the 1 on the file, and 2. K.O. Brennan, Buffalo. No decision, 10. Let me show you K.O. Brennan. That was December 4th. And here you have K.O. Brennan. Just so you can see what some of these fighters look like. Middleweight out of New York. Fascinating fighter himself. And you can see here, 1917, February 10th, Harry Greb. No decision in 6. That was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. July 4th, George Chipp, Youngstown, Ohio. No decision in 12. September 3rd, Jack Dillon. No decision in 10. September 14th, Jimmy Howard. KO4, October 12th, Frank Mantell. KO3. You're looking at champions here. And Harry Greb, George Chip, Jack Dillon, who was a light heavyweight champion, Frank Mantell. I'm going to show you all of these guys. I'm going to show you them right now. Before I get to that, 1918, that's when I told you he was a boxing instructor, so he didn't fight that year. He only had that one fight. And that was April 26th against Packy McFarlane, Dynamite fighter himself. So let's look at Harry Greb, George Chip, Jack Dillon, Frank Mantell. All right, here we got Harry Greb. I did a profile on him. Just want to show you him. This is Harry Greb. Here you have George Chip. George Chip was a middleweight champion. He wasn't a middleweight champion at the time, but he was a middleweight champion. Phenomenal fighter was George Chip. I'll be doing a profile on him as well. All right, so I promised you, I promised you somebody else, and I'm trying to remember who I promised you. Might have been Jack Dillon. That's in my light heavyweight book. So let me just show you Soldier Barfield. Let me show you him right quick. Yeah, got me running from book to book. All right, let me show you Pound Moore. Even though he didn't fight Pound Moore, but I always talk about Pound Moore. So when y'all hear Pound Moore, this is Pound Moore. Dynamite fighter. Really good puncher. That's Pound Moore. So when I mention Pound Moore, this is Pound Moore. I'm going to show you him again. This is Pound Moore. Out of Tennessee. All right, so that's Pound Moore. All right. So I basically showed y'all most of the people. So 1921, April 27th, Chick Wiggins, very good fighter. Silent Martin, Dynamite fighter. Al Summerlin, good fighter. Jeff Smith, Young Fisher. No losses here, except for Tommy Robeson. And that was a 10-round loss, November 25th. I have profiles on every single fighter you see here. It's just that I got 950 books. I'm trying to locate them on the spot when I'm doing this. And then I realize I can't get to the book. I got a bunch of books on top of other books and can't really do that right now. So you'll get a chance to see these fighters. You're hanging around with me long enough. All right, so this is towards the end of his career, 1922, March 9th. Tommy Murphy, no decision, 10 rounds. April 8th, battling Ortega. St. Paul knocked him out in 1 round. For Leo Stokes, Grand Forks, defeated him in 10 rounds. May 6th, Michael Dow, New York City, lost 12 rounds. Retired because of failing vision. Entered business in St. Paul and became a member of the Minnesota State Athletic Commission. He had a total bout of 114, 35 KOs, won on a decision, 18. So majority of his wins were no contests or no decisions. 56. He died August 31st, 1956 in St. Paul, Minnesota. He was elected to the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1958. Let's dive into the Police Gazette scrapbook and take a look at Mike Gibbons, what we can find on him. This is Mike Gibbons outpointing Jeff Smith in 12 rounds. They all seem alike to Mike Gibbons these days, fighting his 3rd battle in less than a week. I repeat, he's fighting his 3rd battle in less than 1 week. St. Paul Phantom. On the night of August 9th, easily outpoints Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith was no opponent to easily outpoint. Fascinating. Of Bayonne in 20 rounds. They fought 20 rounds. And he fought 3 fights in 1 week. And they were all like 15, 20 round fights. Mike had a clear margin in every one. Fascinating. Fascinating. I mean, every time I read these things, it's phenomenal. Unbelievable. And I'm going to show you Jeff Smith right now. Go through him real quick. And this is middleweight. Hard punching division. This is Jeff Smith. Just wanted to show you. Phenomenal fighter. I'm going to get into him in this next video. Scrapbook Boxing. Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Salute to my subscribers. Check in on my next video on Jeff Smith.